This haunting image is called The Unequal Marriage, painted by Russian artist Vasili Pukirev in 1862. What you're looking at isn't just art, it's a weapon. Pukirev came from nothing, born into a poor peasant family, and he used his brush to expose the darkest truths about wealth, power, and forced marriages in 19th century Russia. But why would he create something so deliberately infuriating? Because this wasn't just social commentary, this was personal revenge. Let's step into this painting. We're standing inside a dimly lit church, surrounded by witnesses to what should be a joyous occasion. But there's no joy here. At the center stands a young bride, bathed in ethereal light that pours down from above. At first glance, she appears angelic. A wreath of fresh flowers crowns her head, a delicate veil cascades down her back, and her hair falls in perfect ringlets past her shoulders. Her jewelry catches the light, sparkling against her pale skin. But look closer. Something is terribly wrong. Her entire body seems weighed down, as if her wedding dress has become a prison. She slumps forward, barely able to hold the ceremonial candle in her gloved hand. You can almost imagine it slipping from her fingers, starting a fire that might mercifully end this nightmare. Her eyes, red-rimmed and swollen, tell us she's been crying for hours, maybe days. The expression on her face isn't one of nervous excitement or even reluctance. It's pure despair. This is the face of someone attending their own execution. She extends her hand, not eagerly, but with the resignation of someone who's already given up, toward the hunched priest waiting to seal her fate with a ring. And then there's him, the groom. This man looks like death itself decided to get married. His posture is so rigid, so unnaturally stiff, that he could be mistaken for a corpse standing upright. Even the candle he holds matches his body, straight, inflexible, cold. Around his neck hangs a cross, and on his jacket we see badges and medals, awards for decades of civil and military service. These decorations tell us everything. This man is wealthy, powerful, and of high social status. But notice his face. He's not looking at his bride with love or even basic human warmth. His eyes shift sideways, stealing a glance at his purchased property, because that's exactly what she is. His expression is completely void of emotion. No affection, no tenderness, nothing. His cold, calculating gaze reminds us of a brutal historical truth. For centuries, marriage wasn't about love. It was a business transaction, a contract for transferring wealth and property, and she is the property being exchanged. Everything about this couple screams inequality. She's young, possibly a teenager. He's ancient by comparison, likely in his 50s or 60s. She's full of suppressed life and unfulfilled dreams. He's already lived his life and now wants to own hers. She's drowning in sorrow. He's emotionally dead. Her parents have sold her future for financial security, and now she must pay the price with her entire existence. But where are her parents? And who are all these strange witnesses gathered behind the couple? Here's where things get fascinating and deeply personal. Look at the man standing in the background with his arms crossed tightly over his chest. He's staring at the old groom with pure contempt, his face twisted in disgust. That's Vasili Pukirev himself, the artist who painted this scene. He literally inserted himself into his own painting, not to show general disapproval of unequal marriages, but for a far more devastating reason. That old man isn't just any groom. He's marrying the woman Pukirev loved. In 1907, 45 years after this painting was created, another artist named Vladimir Makovsky sketched a portrait of an elderly woman named Praskovia Vorontsova. The inscription beneath her image revealed something shocking. She was the real bride who inspired the unequal marriage. And by then, she was living in a poorhouse. Here's the tragic backstory. Pukirev had fallen deeply in love with Praskovia, but he came from poverty. He'd only recently graduated from art school, and his meager artist's salary meant nothing to her parents. They wanted security, wealth, and status for their daughter, things Pukirev couldn't provide. So they arranged her marriage to a wealthy older man instead, breaking Pukirev's heart and destroying the young woman's chance at genuine happiness. The cruelest irony? Praskovia became a widow while still young, and her supposedly advantageous marriage left her with nothing. She ended up impoverished anyway, spending her final years in a poorhouse, exactly the fate her parents had tried to prevent. But the painting holds even more mysteries. Look behind the groom's shoulder. There's an older woman standing in the shadows, and something about her is deeply unsettling. She wears a wreath of flowers on her head, eerily similar to the young bride's crown, and her dress, or perhaps it's more accurate to call it a sheet, is pure white. She stares at the old groom with a knowing, cynical expression, as if she's seen this scene play out before. Another similar figure appears on the left side of the painting, standing in a peculiar position behind the priest, a very strange place for a wedding guest. So who are these ghostly women in white? Some art historians believe they're not living guests at all. The white sheets could represent burial garments, and the flower wreaths mirror funeral traditions as much as wedding customs. These may be the spirits of the groom's previous wives, deceased women who once stood exactly where the young bride stands now. They watch with weary, knowing eyes as history repeats itself. Another young woman being sacrificed to this man's wealth and status. Or perhaps they represent something even darker, visions of the young bride's future. These ghosts could be showing her what awaits: a loveless marriage, a lonely death, and eternal regret. Here's where things get even more complicated. Pukirev created a preliminary sketch of this painting in the same year, and it reveals fascinating differences. The man with crossed arms in the corner looks completely different, almost certainly a different person than Pukirev himself. Some scholars believe this original figure was actually Pukirev's friend, who had experienced a similar tragedy. This friend had loved a woman who chose, or was forced to choose, a wealthier, older man instead. The age gap in that case was about 13 years, and interestingly, that couple went on to have children and reportedly enjoyed a happy marriage. According to this theory, when Pukirev's friend saw himself depicted in such a painful moment, he demanded to be removed from the painting immediately. So Pukirev painted over him and inserted his own image instead, making the work even more personally devastating. However, this explanation has problems. The groom in the final painting appears far older than a 13-year age gap would suggest. He looks ancient compared to his teenage bride. Pukirev took an enormous risk with this painting. He made a bold public statement about power, money, and the cruelty of arranged marriages, and the Russian public was ready for it. The painting became an instant sensation. Everyone loved it. It resonated so deeply that it inspired other artists to create their own versions of similar scenes. Legend claims that after The Unequal Marriage was exhibited, numerous elderly grooms across Russia called off their planned weddings to young brides. Whether this story is entirely true or somewhat exaggerated doesn't matter. What's undeniable is that this single painting sparked genuine social conversation and possibly even change. In the end, this masterpiece didn't gain its power from a wealthy old man or from artistic technique alone. Its impact came from a young girl who told the world exactly what they needed to hear without speaking a single word, only through the devastating look in her eyes. Pukirev transformed his personal heartbreak into art that exposed an uncomfortable truth, that behind every arranged marriage, there might be another story of love lost, dreams crushed, and lives destroyed for the sake of money and social status.